Oh, you bloody ripper. What is going on, everyone? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ready Bang, the #1 arm wrestling live stream in the world. I'm your host, the Aussie Arm Wrestler, and of course, when it comes to award winners, we might have an award winner with us on the show, but there is no award like the 2019 Melbourne Cup left arm 80 to 95 kilo third place amateur trophy. The most sought after trophy in the arm wrestling world. And guys, first of all, I've got my tag team partner here, Uncle John. Disclaimer, he actually isn't a part of the film crew with the documentary. He's not taking any credit at all. But man, we have literally a genuine superstar that has entered our sport. And we're going to dive deep into the mind. His work in the past has been nominated for some beautiful awards, including a documentary called Improve Every Day. And we'll talk about that a bit later on. But I first heard of our guest while Devon and Matt Mask were eating buffalo wings, I think it was. This is the man behind the camera of the Devon Larratt documentary that is upcoming. It is our man, Rory from TurnerGang Productions. Rory, welcome to the show.
Nice to meet you. How's it going? Thanks.
Come on, mate. Live it up. Don't get that.
Everybody, it's Rory. Everybody.
Here we go. Everyone, make sure you're in the chat and give a big thanks to Rory, because when this documentary comes out, wowee. Just quickly, Rory, give us a bit of a background about yourself. I know you have doubled. You're a strongman. You've been in a bit of a strongman, but where's the strongman, the drumming, and the filmography all come together?
Well, first off, I'm a shit strongman, but I had a great coach who actually tied into that film that you talked about, Improve Every Day, Kenny Sim. But my background, I'm from the Highlands in Scotland, but I live now in Los Angeles, just finishing up a master's there at USC. But yeah, documentary is a huge part of what I do. I do fiction as well, but strength sports and getting involved in that world veered me off into documentary. It's what I was more into. And a lot of those people who I ended up filming happened to be military veterans. So that's tied in big time with my kind of genre now. It's turned into veterans and strength sports. And here we are with Devon being special forces and also, probably the greatest arm wrestler of all time in my eyes. But
be careful. Be careful.
You're gonna get some fire here, Rory. You're gonna get some fire.
Well, John Brezink obviously is in the film as well, and everyone sort of knows John as the GOAT, and he probably is. But I think that after this film gets released, God willing, actually everything goes well, I'm sure the general public will know about Devon, and that's the goal of this. It's not to be too detail focused on arm wrestling. I didn't come into this with an arm wrestling background, and I've intentionally not watched that much arm wrestling on purpose to not get too hyper focused on it. So otherwise, an audience outside of this might not turn on to the kind of universal themes in it. But anyway.
Yeah,
that to me,
people in the chat saying, speaking the truth, go Rory. I reckon throughout this whole thing, we're going to see your name spelt a million different ways. I can only imagine, mate. I can only imagine. Just say, make sure you give Rory a maximum bang. Dan John says, Rory is the man. That is 2 different ways we've seen it spelled. Give us your best Rory spelling impersonation. Everyone in the chat, let's see how many different ways we can spell Rory. Thanks to everyone joining us in the chat. Uncle John, speak your mind, my friend.
I was just gonna say I'm really happy to hear that you didn't focus on arm wrestling as much. Actually, Jake and I are very much we've had this conversation a million times about what is the best way to go about bringing people in, right? We love it when people come in. We love the people who are in, but we want to figure out how do we go out to that place and grab that person. And it has nothing to do with rules, and it has nothing to do with the minutia. I really think it has to do with the stories and the people. And is that accurate? Like, this is about Devon, because Devon is a ridiculous character, right? He's a crazy, interesting character.
Hands down, I think that Devon, and I really mean this from as bird's eye view as possible, like trying to come in from someone who like watched a lot of docs and a lot of films. Like, films, huge, massive part of my life. I think hands down, he is potentially the greatest documentary character of all time. I mean that, and I'm going beyond Louis Theroux. Beyond, I actually fully believe this. The Pumping Iron, we have had Arnold and Lou Ferrigno and those characters, but I think Devon surpasses that. I really mean it.
Wow.
There is something about Devon where he could sleep with your girlfriend, and then you spend 10 minutes with him and you'd be like, you know what? Yeah, I get it. That's cool, man. Thank you. Thank you for doing the ultimate betrayal. That's awesome. And then you've got Rory filming it, and he turns it into this epic thing and makes me look like the villain. I could see it.
All Devon would have to do is just like raise up his hands and just say, look, buddy. Look,
yeah. You have spent a lot of time with Devon.
Man, I'm starting to fucking walk like Devon. It's true. If you spend enough time around people, and this does happen, I mean, it can be a bad thing too, but you end up taking on a fair chunk of what they do. But even just walking around like, hey, like just the way he raises his arms are just great.
Yeah.
You'll see it in the doc. I'm sure he's very easy to do impressions of, but great guy, really a great guy, and the family Rowry, that's one way to do it. Yeah,
we're just gonna go through it.
But really, that family, Jodie as well, she's a great character. Really, I hope that that this can all come together, and it will. We're just finishing up production now. Really, we're at the semi-final stage. We'll have to go back to Canada for one more trip, but we just got back from Dubai, and we've been shooting now for 9.5 months.
Wow.
All from just a conversation in a pub from Scampy, David Scott. I just come back from filming World's Strongest Man for the Mulligan Brothers documentary on the Stoltman brothers, and a mate of mine, we were just fucking around in the pub, and he said, "Have you heard of Devon Larratt?" And I hadn't at that point, and he just said, "This is right up your street. It's string sports, it's veterans, and you should try and get in touch with them." And I found his email somehow. And he messages back like one word. No, he's just like, "Call me." And this is after a big email, after I spent so much time, just like, "Yeah, sure." And 2 weeks, I think 2 weeks later, he was just like, "Oh, you come out to Canada and stay with me and my family." So I did, just to test the waters a bit. And then 9 months later, that was it, really.
Wow. So let me be clear, because I always like to know my place in the historical happenings here. So is it possible that Scampy talked to me before he talked to you?
I remember that I was, to try and get his email or contact information, I think Scampy said, "Oh yeah, I'll reach out to a few people on YouTube."
Oh, yeah.
I think that's how it started. But then I found his email somehow and reached out to Devon, and sure enough, it was Devon once I verified it, and that was that. Yeah,
nice.
Well, you'll learn pretty easy now that you're deep diving into the arm wrestling world. You could have just messaged him on Instagram, and he. and he'll just reply. We're very spoiled in our sport. Like, I'm not messaging Eddie Hall and I'm getting oh yeah, sure thing. I'll say, yeah, I'll come on the show. You've got to go through all of that. But yeah, you just I messaged him the other day. Hey man, can I send you money to buy you and your family dinner to say thanks? No, buddy, no. Well, I'm just assuming it's in his accent. No, but but he's there. It is all very accessible. But I want to share a funny story with the chat. We were talking about it before camera. Rory is a good example, ladies and gentlemen, of how not to be a dick in the arm wrestling world. I'd made a video and with Uncle John as well. Devon has said, yeah, if you want to use any of our stuff, go nuts. You'll do it all properly and everything like that. So I did a thumbnail. And then Rory slid in my DMs and he's like, oh, hey, man, just let you know that's actually my photo. If you could just give a bit of credit in the descriptions, all happy days. And then I, oh, man, I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was yours. I thought it was just Devon hanging out at his house, and someone took a really nice photo. And then I was like, well, because you're not a dick. I was like, come on the show. When you're ready, when you're settled, come on the show and let's talk about this documentary. So word for everyone in the arm wrestling world, you don't have to go straight for the jugular, and if you don't, you could end up on the show,
right?
End up on
everybody wins.
The show. How long was filming from the moment you went I'm on or Devon's on, from there to now? How long's that?
9.5 months, but the pre-production side of that is a big one. And then with every film I usually try to say you'll have about 20 solid hurdles to go through at first. It's usually around that number. And that's from fucking logistics of how do we get equipment out there? Are we doing it? Am I self-shooting? What kind of gear do I need? What kind of team will I pick to do it? Depending on the subject, what kind of operators will we have out there? Can we get Canadian operators? All this kind of stuff. But and you'll have at least 20 of those to start with. There have been far more in this instance, just because we've traveled. We've done Canada, Georgia, filming with Levon, Dubai twice.
Wow.
We'll be doing a bit of US, and then back to Canada. All over Canada. Actually, we've done 2 in Ottawa and also in Calgary with Matt Mask and the Red Deer Club and the surrounding areas and stuff, but a huge amount of logistical work. So it's pretty much just been me shooting and doing everything one person, because we didn't have the funding. If you're
going to Dubai twice, why twice?
Because December it was Devon versus John, and that's a huge part of the story. Yeah. So Devon wants to, the surface level goal. Devon wants to be, to be remembered as one of the greatest of all time, or if not the greatest, if he can go through these 2 people. And first off is John. It's kind of like, Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's got to defeat the kind of person who's set him up, or given him that kind of taste for this these huge competitions. And they've had a rivalry, ongoing for 15 years, if I've got the right. You tell me. At least that
bit longer, probably
longer. And so obviously Devon goes through John, and that means he can progress to Everest. That's the final level, Levon. And he has to prepare for that. So the whole film is essentially a scene of preparation, as is Rocky or something like that. But that's the surface level of the story anyway. The surface level want is to defeat Levon, and how will he do that? How will he train for it? And he has to go through all these people and all these clubs to do that, and it's all across Canada. Go into oil rigs, training with hard bastards.
Mm-hmm.
In Calgary and whatnot, and Jody there supporting him as well, his family there. So there's lots of different elements to the story and friends that help him along the way. So yeah.
I got a question for you. I know you said you purposely didn't watch much arm wrestling, but did you watch Pulling John?
No, and I've stayed away from it. I know a lot about Pulling John, but I haven't watched it on purpose. Again, yeah. I sound pretentious as fuck when I say this, but it's just to completely not get immersed into it. and do it from a different perspective, different angle, because I think if the film is to break the kind of boundaries and to get into that commercial atmosphere, that commercial audience, it can't come from someone who's so immersed in the details of arm wrestling. Like, I've really got to just focus on the universal themes of it. But
I love that. I love that.
I will watch it. No disrespect. I know it's a great movie. It's resonated hugely with this community, but I just can't. I'm not ready to watch it yet. I can't watch it.
I think
yet.
that's great. That's my preferred thing. Be outside, bring something new. We've been hammering our heads against the wall for like 60 years in arm wrestling, and we see little things come and go. And Pulling John is great. That's what got me into arm wrestling. But I think if you're right, if you break out and do something different, that would be beautiful.
Yeah. Now, sticking with the themes, Rory, mommy, have you seen Over the Top?
Of course, yeah.
Oh, woo! I thought after 16 minutes I'm gonna have to boot him from the chat. Oh, lucky, no. Absolutely.
I love the music. I love the twinkly kind of music they play when he starts to go over the top. Fucking great. A bit of a weird story, weird plot line though. Like, it just didn't. I wondered why this kid of his was at military school, and then he comes to pick him up in his truck, and the grandfather, he'll do anything to like stop this guy from being with his son.
A lot of coke being done in the 80s. A lot of coke.
Yeah. What? Yeah. And Sly, why are you bringing your son to a bar with like 100 dudes and then allowing a big fat bald dude to stand behind your son and hold his hand? Like, that's pretty creepy, man. Like, come on, Sly. There's a reason why you don't have custody to your child, and it's things like this. Look at the underlying problem there, Sly. But so then what were your thoughts, Rory? You've come in and now you're sinking your feet into the arm wrestling world. Mm-hmm. What were your initial thoughts on, like, holy shit, like, this is a thing, this is like bigger than what, if you thought this is bigger than what you thought it would be, holy shit, these guys are massive, or similar to strongmen in real life? What were your thoughts coming into our really lunatic sport?
Honestly, I'm so desensitized by any of that. I always get frustrated if, especially pitching this film to anyone who wanted to potentially fund it, or even, studios who were looking at it. And we did have it was pitched to about 35 within Los Angeles anyway, and Canada. And one of the big questions is, they're so sensitive to that. They're not into bodybuilding or strongman or that kind of culture. It's a different world. And fair enough, people are into different sports, and that's fine. But no, I'm completely, fine with that. Everyone's arm wrestled. This is what I would be surprised to find anyone in the world who hasn't ever arm wrestled. I'm sure that everyone knows about it. They just don't know about the way it's kind of grown now. But no, I wasn't too shocked at all. The one thing that I suppose thought was funny, and I still do, that it takes more fucking time to set up a match than it does to actually start pulling. And that's a funny side of it. There is a lot of humor in it too.
No, there's not. It is frustrating. It is to get fresh eyes onto the sport for purists and lunatics like us. It can be a bit of a killer. It's a buzzkill. It's, you're like, oh, they've walked off. Nothing's happened.
If you've spent that much time with Devon, you're probably just like, let's savor every moment of this.
It's great. It's so good. It really is. I hope I got enough of that in Dubai, because that was a hard one. The recent one in Dubai. But no, that's the brilliant part of it, the art of it, because it's a combat sport in a way. I think that's something that is missed by a lot of people. It's kind of like jiu-jitsu of the hand. And a lot of people think it's just pure, strength and power, but the technique aspect is so massive.
Yeah.
That it is it's combat, and I love that side of it, and I'm looking forward to talking about that as best I can.
Jiu-jitsu of the hand, if that's not a Devonism, I don't know what what else
I
is.
hope no one quotes me on that, because that could be the easiest fucking thing.
What I want the chat to do now. It's going to be hard for you not to react or anything at all, Rory, and I don't want to know. But I want the chat while we're having a talk here. I want you all to guess the title of the documentary, and I'm just going to pop some random ones up. And later on in the show, guys, we'll get some questions from you guys to ask Rory about the production. But guess the title of this documentary, and I'm just going to randomly put some up.
You know what? It hasn't. We've not fully decided on it. It's got a working title for sure, but maybe we'll find a better title here. Maybe we will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There we go. GA's just straight into it. Jiu-jitsu for the arm. No limits.
We've had no limits a good few times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just feel it's a little. I feel no limits is a little fucking cheesy, to be honest.
Wow. Well, let's speak on that, because like when we're sitting there and it's like no limits, and I remember when I first got into arm wrestling, I was like, now that's a nickname.
It's a good nickname. It's a good nickname. I just don't think it's a good name for a movie. I think it's kind of just, I don't know. It's a weird, like, I suppose the term's like, oh, that's so inspiring. Everything's inspiring. It gets a little, you lose the kind of feeling from it a little bit. I just, no limits kind of is, I don't know. I'm not vibing with it yet.
We'll see. That makes it even better, because I remember when, for those that aren't too sure, the first time I saw of Rory was Devon and Matt Mask went live, I think, on Matt Mask's channel, and they were just eating food, literally just eating food. And then they're like, Rory, come over here, and just went, hey, this dude's doing a documentary. I was like, oh, that's awesome. So I did a small video and said, what should the documentary be called? And it was a runaway, no limits. So the fact that you've just come in here and kind of taken a big Amber Heard on it, I'm pretty, I reckon this is, even if it is called No Limits, I don't care. I'm a bit like, the guy's just come in and backhanded it.
Maybe, it's about what the audience wants too. I'm not gonna destroy that. We'll call it mega pints or mega pools. I don't know.
I like that.
We got Brokeback Pumpkin from Tours to the Table. The fall of arm wrestling's biggest myth. Lucha Pagliacci was a big Levin fan, so you'll get about that. I'm not sure if you jumped online or anything, but did you, whilst filming, see a lot of the backlashes? If you're supporting Devon, the Levin fans are on the internet going to town. But if you supported Levin, the Devon fans, or were you just too bloody busy?
Honestly, too busy. But it's good. No, we did pay attention to that. I certainly kept my ear to the ground about that, because it's important to the people who are Mr. Jody.
That's funny.
Sorry, Rory.
Yeah.
That one's got me. That one's got me. But yeah, so like, how many? Like, is it just you wake up, you're filming, you go and do it, you sleep for like 2 hours at 2:00 in the morning, and then just go again?
Yeah. To be honest, for this last one, I mean, no, we did have decent sleep for this one, because a lot of Devon's prep going into this, and Levon's, is just sleep during the day, eat, sleep again, sleep, eat again, and that's fine. Like the filming actually gets a wee bit boring leading up to a comp, because it is so, all energy is kind of reserved. Like Devon's got a great expression, everything takes something. Like every little, I think that's what he says, but every little movement, even shaking someone's hand, it takes up energy. And he was so hyper focused on conserving energy, and Levon was too. I'm pretty sure I barely got any time with Levon in Dubai privately this time, but no, the normal schedule is you always keep the camera on you. It can get relentless for sure, and then the decompression after a shoot is a big one, especially for Doc. If you're especially in Georgia, that was a hard one. Like going to the Russian occupation line and
Oh man,
all that, which was pretty intense. Good on Levon for actually taking me there, and what we saw. But no, definitely decompression's needed after each shoot for sure. Yeah.
Wow.
Rory, what is your? Maybe I'm getting a little far ahead, but can you talk anything about the goals of, like, where is this something that we would see in a theater or on a streaming service, or like, is there that type of are you at that type of thinking yet?
100%. The goal, I mean, people get so wrapped up in the idea of where's it going to go? Where's it going to go? Where's it going to go? And I think you can get so easily disappointed with that. And I think that a huge part of this, especially if it's a solo kind of project, until you get funding, until you get a crew on board, you take on a lot of it yourself. And that's not to be, wimpy or anything, but you have to keep your morale high. So you focus on what you can control. And that purely a lot of the time is just filming to the best of your ability and trying to be as prepared as you can with your gear. And when you go out there, and making sure that you don't fuck it up in the moment. And that's all you can really control. But yeah, you try and make preparations early on. You try to test the water to see, is this worth me committing 1 or 2 years of my life to?
Right.
And to be honest, I thought it was anyway, just because Devon does have that effect. I don't know how he does it, but I'm sure you guys have experienced when he walks into a room, all energy just goes to him.
Mm-hmm.
It's bizarre. It really is bizarre. I don't know how he does it, but he's a lightning rod for sure. And there's something special about it. His life is a painful one and a beautiful one too. There's definitely a lot in this that will come out. But no, Netflix are aware of the film, and they got the first. Yeah, they are aware of the film, and they received the first sizzle reel.
Wow.
Which was made just from 1 week of shooting with Devon. For that first meeting, I took the camera and obviously did it, focused 100% on it. And my friend Cecily Lowe edited it for me, who's one of my cohort at USC. And that was pitched to the head of Netflix documentaries, who still is. His name's Dan Silver, and he's certainly aware of the film. And they did pass on it, unfortunately. But normally with a Netflix pass, you'll maybe not even hear back. And if you do, it'll be a very quick email, 1 sentence. He replied after taking a good couple of weeks on it, and then got back and said, here's the reason why we're passing on it, and I still want a meeting anyway to talk about it. And this is the head of all Netflix documentaries globally, and he took half an hour solid just to talk about the film. And here's why right now we feel we can't commit a large sum of money, because we're afraid it's not going to meet our commercial slate, because they weren't convinced it was a commercial enough storyline. But come back in 9 months from now or 10 months. And of course, we've gone on anyway, as we would have, still shooting. And in my mind, regardless of whether Netflix pick it up or not, that would be a great goal, because it's the biggest platform there is, and it means the most exposure for the sport and the story.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, we've just got to make the best story possible, the most emotive story possible, one that's going to resonate with the biggest audience. And I know in my heart, if we can pull the edit off, which is a different world than production, if we can pull that off, if we can find the right person in my team for that, then we can translate to it. And I really believe, without sounding like an arrogant prick, that it could be one of the best sports documentaries of all time. I really believe it. Yeah, I believe it.
Good. But that's what I want to hear. Like, hey, Rory, tell us about the documentary. Yeah, 3 out of 10. We did all right. That's what I want to. That's what I want to hear. Like this. Yeah, don't want to blow my own trumpet, but toot. Like
it's not. It's. I think that it's a good fit for me doing this film, definitely. And I'm thankful for Devon and Jodie for even letting me do it, because there have been attempts, I think, in the past to do a documentary, but it's Devon and it's Jodie who bring it to life. It's their kids who bring it to life. It's Mask who brings it to life. I'm lucky to just be there at specific moments to document it and then try to craft it into a storyline that's going to resonate the most with the audience, as long as it's ethically within truth and truthful, and it's not manipulating truth to the point where it's untrue. Like, obviously in documentary we've got to edit it, and we're creating a different reality, but we're sticking to the truth at the same time. You know, we have to condense everything, but it's them who make it special. And Devon is I think he surpasses Arnold. I think that if he was to continue on beyond this, if he focuses more on his acting, which I think he is doing, if that's the road he wants to go down, I think that the world will have that kind of attraction to him, where he would walk into the world and the world would instantly put their eyes to him. He has that effect. I've seen it across Canada, and you know, in Dubai, people are drawn to the guy, and he has that appeal, is the leading man kind of appeal. So,
dude, he could be a cult leader in 2 seconds.
Yeah,
for sure.
He is.
Yeah.
That's the whole goal. You know, he wants to build a community too. That's one of Devon's biggest goals is to literally link arms with the world and build this huge community, which is a huge part of his endeavors as a person and what he wants to do. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Getting a bit of love in the chat. Not My Monkeys, Not My Circus says, this man survived a Devon and Matt breakfast, for fuck's sake. So they're just giving you several. Lucha wants to know if you've ever watched any Arm Wars Ironhouse.
I mean, I know Neil Pico. Is that who you're talking about from Arm Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah. Will not hit mainstream unless Corpse Light. Yeah, but I would agree that it's great if Netflix take this, just because I see it there. I see it, the poster there, and it would fit. I think that if they choose fucking Tiger King and they don't choose this,
yeah.
But sometimes it can be the best film. A lot of great films have been passed by Netflix and taken up elsewhere. There are lots of great streaming platforms, and at the end of the day, the arm wrestling community is growing, and people will see this. And that's the main thing. The whole point of making the film is so people watches it, and we do want it to be on the biggest platform. But I think it will go mainstream. I think it will.
I mean, obviously you still have all the editing to do, all the post-production stuff, but if you were going to guess on like a timeline when we just might start seeing some stuff come out, are you going to release any like teaser stuff, or will it just be like, here it is?
Yeah, we'll definitely release teasers. Again, it does depend who you're contracted with. If, say, a studio did come along and buy, say, we're going to pay for post-production, and also, you know, within post-production is, you know, we're buying the film, then there are certain things you can't do at that point. But as long as it's independent, which it still is, yeah, I would love to share trailers and whatnot, and I absolutely do plan on doing that. Again, it just depends on funding as well, because we have to utilize every bit of funding we have to securing production, and we're just at the final stage now. But the timeline of it, I would hope to finish first cut by December.
Oh, nice.
You know, I'd like to get it moving quick, because the longer you leave it, the less fresh. Again, it sounds pretentious, but the less fresh it is in my mind. And people, you know, things happen in people's lives and stuff, and it's good to just keep it going. I hate losing momentum. Like, we have to keep moving. So first cut by December, but in terms of it being released, that could be into next year. I'd hate to give a definitive month, but I certainly hope before March by the time it's out. But the quicker, the better, to be honest. Yeah,
that would be great.
with the trajectory that the sport is going, now is the time. You know, the biggest match happened. This is the perfect. That's the thing about it too. It feels like fate, in a way, without sounding cheesy about it, but the film landed to me at a kind of perfect time in my life, and also a perfect time in Devon's life, as he suddenly gets the opportunity to do this, and suddenly the sport seems to be, you know, you can almost feel it, just this big vibration going around this match, and all the shit talking that went with it, which was, you know, it caused so much hype and drama. But it's the perfect time. So we've hit it on the head for timing.
Now, Rory, you need funding. You know, independent filmmaker, you need funding. Proposition for you: how much money would it cost for you to alter your documentary?
Here we go.
And have Devon winning at King of the Table, because there is footage. The technical footage of him pinning Levon, and I could see you just doing the slow motion, the music in the background, and then it just ends that Devon has climbed the Georgian mountain.
Dude, people would have aneurysms. They'd be so mad. Dude, people can hardly take it in the comments right now because Devon is being successful even after he lost. They hate it so bad.
Yeah, I think if we could pay for the rights for the over-the-top twinkling music at that very moment, then maybe people would believe it. Yeah, but I don't know. It costs quite a lot to do the visual effects on that one.
That would be the best. Rory gives us this big pig, and it's like it's the best documentary of all time. Why? Because Devon wins.
The ultimate troll. All right.
A quick question here from Johans. He's just said, quick question for Rory. And he actually spoke your name right. Thank you very much. He goes, what exactly does Matt Mask do for a living? I know he's involved in some kind of oil field working, but what exactly does he do from there?
I mean, I can't give you a specific job title, but yeah, he works in oil for a specific oil company. I'm not sure I can name the name here, but he does work for an oil company in near Calgary, anywhere, or just outside Red Deer. Yeah, that's what he does. But I mean, his YouTube's growing as well, and he's a fucking great character.
I was gonna say, if Devon's a character, Matt Mask is every bit.
He's
right?
Hilarious.
I begged him to come out to Dubai. I really did, and I was hoping he would, because he's such a hope in the edit will come out. But he was a central character in filming. He's brilliant. He's so funny, and he works so well on camera, and he's such a good friend.
Yeah.
You know, good mate. Even though all the stuff, you know, like don't fucking touch me.
Yeah.
You know, after
nailed it. That was a good one. Dawn, don't fucking touch me, eh? Oh, yeah, nailed it.
Don't fucking the hand, the finger, like he's just brilliant. Like, he's such a nice guy. And no, man, I wanted him out just to root for Devon on the sidelines, because he helped him so much in Calgary, and it was a really cool thing to see that these guys are great mates, but they're competitors. And when it comes down to it, you know, there's obviously the back and forth. Especially showing that match, you know, the don't fucking touch me moment. You know? But he still helps him because he's his mate, and he wants the best for him. And there's something really beautiful about that, and funny and pretty touching. That's another thing. I hope that there will be a big touching side of this too. That it will be a sad film too. There's a lot of sadness in it too. There's a lot of humor in it. I think, you know, people will laugh and cry. That's the hope anyway, because it definitely surpasses arm wrestling a lot. Arm wrestling is the surface level of it, you know, the thing that keeps it all moving forward. But again, it's a lot to do with Devon's life, his friendships, his family, his brother, his world in special forces before this, and there's a lot.
I'll be really thrilled if you guys highlight that love-hate dynamic, especially between, you know, Matt and Devon, because I have that with a lot of guys too, right? And it's something that I think we try to ingratiate that might be the wrong word, with new people. Like you can hate each other on the table and you can still be very, very supportive of each other as soon as you get off. But that's a very, very difficult thing for some people to grasp onto.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Matt let it go for sure. Because he's a great guy. Really.
Yeah.
And he is Wild Horse is the perfect name for him. Like the aggression that just comes out and the passion for it, you know?
Yeah.
Especially that match in Istanbul as well. It just happened recently.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. I don't know how that guy had the balls to touch Matt on the head. I was just like, fuck, you know. I was watching that and I thought Matt would have like
lost it.
But he didn't. He kept it so calm. He just breathed through it. But
yeah.
Quick question from Dino. Dino's jumped in and he just wants to know, Rory, who has the bigger appetite, Matt or Devon?
You know what? I think that as soon as the comp was done in Dubai, Devon was just so done with food, as you would be if you're forcing yourself to get to a certain weight. He was just like, I don't give a fuck. I mean, he rarely swears, but he was like, I just don't care. Not in a dejected kind of way. He's like, food doesn't matter right now.
Yeah.
He's got a good appetite. I've not seen it as excessive. I mean, I've seen people, especially for like World's Strongest Man and that, you know, like Tom Stoltman, like and Luke going through 14,000 calories a day. Devon wasn't at that kind of level. Matt has an appetite for sure, but he's a great cook. He's actually a really good cook.
Well, with those fingers and all, does he just grate the cheese on his fingers? Is that right?
He's got a built-in whisk.
Yeah.
Hey, you want some more cheese?
All in one.
I hope he does. He's gonna see this and like shit talk.
Oh, he's gonna laugh his ass off.
Yeah,
he's awesome. So then, when you said you got to film in Georgia, and you know you were very fortunate, very lucky enough to spend some time with Levan. First impressions of seeing the big fella not on a screen.
Yeah. No, I didn't know what to expect there. You know, I'm sure that there's a wee bit of fear among their team that they were thinking, has he been sent over here to find out what we're up to and bring that back to Devon as information? No, I fully believe that was the initial. They're so welcoming. First off, extremely welcoming, and you know, he said, "Yeah, absolutely, I'd come film." When he could have absolutely said, no fucking way, considering all the stuff that was going on and being posted and whatnot. But he could have easily turned around and said no, and he's made the film work because of his participation and because of how cool he was about it. And I think any fears and all that disappeared pretty quick. Like for one story, we brought this haze canister with us to haze his gym to just give it a bit more ambience because the light wasn't working for us. So we wanted to haze it up a bit. And before we, you know, haze it, they're like, wait, let's take a look at this real quick. And I actually think there was a moment where they're dead serious, like, hang on, what is, you know, what if it gets him sick or something? But it's just fucking smoke in a can. You know, like
he's a guy doing a Devon documentary trying to smoke out Levan's room, you know.
Literally like a fucking smoke grenade from Canada, just tosses it in. Right? Why? Like, close the door. But no, anything like, we just had a laugh over it. And he was actually such a nice guy.
Yeah.
Quite a gentle guy, really. I think that a lot of the build up to this, you know, like Devon was so hungry for that win, and it is his character to sort of hype up the match and whatnot. But I think a lot of it, you know, Levan would have taken on a lot of that. But he was so quiet about it, at least in front of me. I'm not sure what he would have been like if the camera hadn't been there, but no, he seemed to just try to let it go over his head. But super nice guy, so accommodating. He drove us everywhere in his big Humvee. I'm not sure if you've seen that, but he shows up at the hotel, and we hear this engine just roaring through the traffic, and it turns around, and in my mind I just see this kind of montage of this Humvee like looking at the rims and pulling. One of the shots is he basically drives up to the camera and his license plate says Hulk, so it just comes into view, you know. It's nuts. And his huge fucking hand like touching the steering wheel, and he has the like he's shifting. It's automatic, but as he shifts, it's just this massive handle in this Humvee that like anyone else's hand would just like so tiny on it, and just slams it down, shifts it forward. It's so cool to look at. But no, all of them were so nice and very accommodating, and they root for him so much. It's mainstream in Georgia, even in traffic as we're driving past. People are honking their cars and leaning out their windows saying, "Good luck against Devon." Like we pulled up next to a group of girls at traffic lights. Just coincidentally, they happened to be there, and the window was down, and the girl catches sight of him, and she must have been like 18 or 19, and she starts crying, like like, oh my god, it's that popular over there. You know, it's everywhere he went. Kids would run up to him, like screaming, "Oh my god!"
Wow.
You know, it's popular in Canada, but fuck, this is on another level. You know, he is their hero, and they sent him out there beautifully to do what he could do. And we had the same in Canada. The final scenes, of which you'll see, where there is a send-off for each person. You know, Devon trains at his local club with the Ottawa High Hookers, and it's right because there was a huge storm that passed through in our last phase of shooting there. We had to film everything by candlelight, so he's training literally by candlelight.
Whoa!
And because we had no power, and so they train in front of a bonfire for his sending off party, and there's a fire, and they're all training around it with their headlights pointed at the table, and you know, they'll wish each other well, like on their way to do it in Dubai. So
that's gonna be great scenes. Knowing who was likely there, I can't wait to watch that.
Yeah.
That's going to be cool. We've got one of the shareholders and someone who's doing magnificent stuff on their channel, Matt Rhodes Sport. Thanks for jumping in, Matt. He says, "What's up, gang?" Did you? So that comes in. So we get to King of the Table, and people like Matt, Mark Boyd, Donna Drees, and things like that. Did you have to deal with them at all? Were they just like, "Oh, cool, that's Devon's crew, all access," or what was it like meeting all the crew to do with King of the Table? Because you're finally at the event.
So no, I had to obviously negotiate with Core Sports before. I can't say too much about it, but in December with John, and they were very accommodating to me, and they helped me out massively. Just like this time I had a bigger crew, and obviously the stakes are higher. I took out 2 people with me who are really fantastic. I'll talk about them in a bit. And no, they helped me out. We were the documentary crew on the ground, and we wanted to ensure that we get the best footage possible for this film. And you know, I might have been a bit ruthless about it, but in fact, I feel bad for Matt. I hope there wasn't a misunderstanding, but basically, one of the things that, you know, we're in documentary, it can be pretty hard, especially if you're filming someone who's well known. There's a tendency for sometimes people will get very excited, fans, and they'll walk in front of camera with their phones, which can degrade footage sometimes. But Matt, like, pretty funny. I didn't realize who Matt was at the time, and I thought he was. I recognized him, but I thought he was a fan or something. He had a phone, but I didn't realize that he worked with Core Sports and all the rest. So I didn't realize his point. Anyway, so I feel like I was a bit of a dick to Matt, and I didn't mean that. So thank you, Matt, for being so understanding. But Core Sports were great. They're fantastic, and everyone who was there supported us fully and were really nice to us, including Matt and his team and everyone else. So no, it was a great experience.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
I've got a really, really important question that I think everyone really wants to know. Number one, did you meet the beer man? Evan Burgoyne.
Yeah.
Now, you're not giving him any screen time, correct?
Please don't.
No screen time for Evan. None.
Nah. Well, you know what? He was at one of our big first filming blocks. He was great on camera.
I know, isn't it?
I
It's
know.
just
That's what
disgusting.
shits us to tears. We love him. We love him, but we don't. Look, we'll talk off camera and we'll talk dollar values to get him. Nah, I'm only joking. Evan's a character.
He is a character. I'm sure we do have good shots of him. Like he was brilliant when we were first there, and it was Pembroke we were training at, or with Valley High Hookers, and he was there. No, he's fucking brilliant. I'd love to get more footage of him if possible. Maybe I shouldn't say that out loud.
Nah, he'll send it to you. Probably check your inbox right now. You probably have about 45 minutes worth of Evan. He'll send it to you. He's a good guy as well. We love him.
I'll get one message from him recently or something, but he'll just say "sup" or just like "hey," but you know, and nothing else. He'll make you put in the work for the conversation.
Dude, I've run a live stream with him for like a year now. I know exactly what you mean.
I was like, hey, Evan, how's it going? He was like, yeah, good.
Yeah.
Or just good.
Yeah. Boring off camera, but then get a camera on him, and then the beer man comes out, and it's good. Matt Rhodes has just jumped back in. He says, Devon and Jody spoke very highly of you. I'm sure the doco will be great. Matt Rhodes, not sure why Devon and Jody are speaking about me, but thank you very much. They spoke highly of Rory, and by just having a chat with Rory now, it kind of makes sense that they would. It seems to have all gone well. For a lot of us, clearly weren't at King of the Table. Rory, you were there. It was arguably the hype, the everything. You know, Devon's got a documentary. Uncle John and I and many YouTubers went to town about building it up. You know, I thought we've been waiting a year for the match, one of the biggest matches in history. What was the energy? As much as you can say, I'm not trying to get any exclusives and anything, but when you're there, the energy, whether it's the foyer, the arena, the pre-match, you know, if you have access to Devon on his way to the back of the stage, what was all of that energy and everything like?
Electric, supersonic, or I guess it was just supersonic.
Awesome. Because what we saw on screen, like when I looked at the production of King of the Table, I was kicking myself. I said, I should have spent the money and been there. I was kicking myself. And then, you know, people are pretty good on camera and they can make it. So to hear, if you were there, that it was bang on, I'm pretty happy about that.
It was bang on. They did a hell of a job. And the venue that they set it up in was perfect, especially with the perspective of people, which will look great on camera just because it's done in a traditional kind of square where a boxing ring used to be, and they removed the boxing ring so people can be upstairs cheering down, and you know, and it was great at the height of it, you know, people leaning over the balcony, you know, shouting for Devon and Levant, and we have that as we, you know, pan up and around, and obviously we're shooting on top of Core Sports cameras as well, so the production element of that was hard, you know, just trying not to get into their line of view and not fuck up the live stream, but us moving around and having to work out, okay, we can move in a 180 arc here, but the headset, like just from a technical aspect, we had headsets for me and my team so that we could coordinate and just say, right, Devon and Levant are backstage, but we set the backstage up as a set in a way, and just we pre-lit it hours before just to try and get, like, there's a color scheme in the film, like just to that kind of detail where Devon has his own colors, you know, which is often red and green, like kind of Christmas tree colors, and also kind of, whereas someone like John Brezink, I guess I'm hoping to film a little bit more with John, actually. John, if you're watching, please let me film. But John lives in the desert, so he would be kind of more like earthy, you know, colors and all the rest of it. So backstage, Levon's colors were kind of more reddish, just to do with like the Georgian flag, just to do with how we filmed his gym, and Devon's corner was green, to do with his hoodie that he'd be walking out on. So we pre-lit that, and I mean the footage is like, I'm definitely most proud of it. But the team I had with me had Warren Elgort. There was actually Ansel Elgort's brother, the guy from Baby Driver. If you do you know, it's his brother.
Ah,
He's just
well, there you go.
he's one of my good mates, but he's a hell of a shot, and his dad's a very famous fashion photographer. So he brings that element to it in his cinematography, and he's managed to join me for the last 2 shoots. And then Vicky Ratanava Papong, if I've got her second name right, she's from Thailand, but she's a hell of a cinematographer, and she can really kind of paint with light. So bringing in that caliber of people just for this, and finally we get some funding so I can bring them in to help me. They put a massive hand in the light and style of that, and I was so lucky to be able to delegate shots, because some people have different strengths for their shooting styles, and having them there at King of the Table was massively important. We probably overshot hugely. We probably didn't need 3 cameras on the ground, but we wanted to just ensure that we get those shots, because the whole film was leading up to one single shot of just the 2 of them waiting backstage. And again, fucking phones getting this is the thing, public, and it doesn't make, sometimes it's very difficult to persuade, if you're a fan or just someone who's in the audience or something, not anyone who's related to actually being there and who's supposed to be there. Separate from those people, there's a definite, and I don't mean any offense by saying this, but there's a lack of patience where people want instant recording of their phone. I've had people literally come up to me next to me while I'm filming on a camera, like the best quality camera you can get for documentary. And some motherfuckers come right up next to me and film the screen that we are recording and then uploaded it. It's just for their own gain. And it's a shame. It's a shame, because basically it's like people can't wait for the quality to come. Like, we need to wait a year and a half sometimes to see the result.
There's a big problem in our sport right now, by the way.
Yeah, it's not about if it's good or not, it's whether you're first.
It degrades it. Say if you've arranged an entire crew from around the world to film something so special to you that you're literally, you would do anything for it pretty much. And sometimes, it just doesn't look good. It's just it's the world we live in now, I guess. It's just the time of it. But everything's so instant and fast that there's a lack of patience for quality. And that's all we're trying to do. And what we hope will come across in this is just quality, and that, I don't know what else to say, really. That's just one hurdle. And fair enough. I get why. I was 100% probably one of those people, if at a concert, I'd want to record it because it's special and it's such a special moment. But we were so desperate to just get this embedded in our cameras, in our footage, that we just capture the moment without reminding too many people of social media or phones, just to be in this fucking moment. Which is so special. But I barely saw the match when it happened, though, because I was so busy focusing on through the camera. I didn't register what I was seeing. But obviously it's hard, because I love Devon, and I was with him up until his prep, so I knew that something had gone wrong, and I decided to actually focus on Jody and let the other 2 film Devon and Levon, just so I could focus on something else a little bit there. But anyway, those are some of the elements.
There you go. Very interesting. Just quickly, Ryan Blue Bowen, thank you very much for your super chat. He says, ready bang, super excited to see the doco. People are giving some interesting some interesting things. He also says, so awesome listening to the technical efforts put into this. It will no doubt be a mega moment for the sport. Thank you, Rory. And then a lot of people are still arguing in the comments. It's
About
ridiculous.
what?
Just enjoy this moment, guys. This is, I don't. If you go back and watch the live chat, Rory, everyone's just attacking each other. It's like, come on, guys. We literally have the dude that's. They're not about you. They're just about Levan versus Devon in there. So let's lighten up the mood a bit. I'm going to play a game. Any guest that comes on the show, you got to play a game, and it's along the lines of fuck, marry, and kill. But your options are: one, you're going to make the star of the documentary. The other one, you're reducing their airtime. And the third one, you are eliminating from your documentary.
What was the first one? What was the first one?
The star of the documentary,
Right.
the main star, limited airtime, and you have to cut from the documentary.
Burgoyne.
Well, he's not an option. Your options are Devon Larratt, Levan Saganishvili, and Jody Larratt.
Oh, that's tough. That's brutal.
I was going to go with someone else, but you've spoken very highly in how influential she was. So I thought I've got to do it.
It doesn't work without Jody. That's the thing. These are tough. It doesn't actually work without she. It's kind of like Adrian and Rocky Balboa. Like, she's so integral to the story. Yeah, fuck. It doesn't work without Levan because Levan's not the villain. Actually, it's strange. I think that the setup initially in everyone's mind, that Devon's the light, Levan's Devon's the underdog going into this, and therefore the person across from him has to be the villain. But you want a simple answer, and I'm trying to give you that.
Yeah. Dan John's trying to stick up for you. He's like, Jake, that was nasty.
You know what?
It was terrible.
If we want a basic movie without the emotion that's needed from a character like Jodie, then you'd have to cut Jodie from the film, and you'd have to put Levan as limited airtime, because if we don't see him as much, then he's scarier. In my opinion, like Jaws or something.
The shark.
You barely see the shark. Jurassic Park, I mean, the dinosaurs are only, what was it like? They only had actually 7 minutes of full screen time or something.
They were a good 7 minutes.
They're a good 7 minutes, weren't they?
Yeah, Hannibal Lecter was the same. Hannibal Lecter's only, I think it's around 11 minutes of the movie. Yeah. He's only in it there, and it won an Oscar. So, all right.
There's your basic answer, but that's just from, if we want to make it a good film, then they all need to have a mix of those. It's like a recipe, and that they'll have to be mixed in equally.
Yeah.
Very diplomatic answer, but it's just all fun and game. Yeah, everyone don't take it too seriously. I'm going to now ask you some quick fire questions, Rory. Yeah. One word answers. No thinking at all, my friend. Do you prefer strongman or arm wrestling? Quick fire, Rory. I'm not sure if it's different in Scotland, but quick means
arm wrestling.
Whoa! We win one.
Good,
we won one. Yes, from downtown. That's clearly a marketing answer, because he's just made an arm wrestling documentary. He's not going to come on here and say strongman's better.
I like strongman.
In one word, if you can, describe the feeling when Devon was pinned at the end.
Cathartic.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What was the one thing you absolutely loved about filming this documentary?
Sorry, man, that takes a minute. Knowledge, learning.
Yeah.
What was the one thing you... I need to describe it. He's a mentor to me in a lot of ways.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Kind of a father figure, brother figure. You learn more sometimes by putting the camera down, and that's what happened with me for sure. Yeah.
There you go. What was the one thing you hated about the whole filming?
Phones.
Yeah. After your last story, I thought that might have That might have been the thing. Who was your favorite and who was the most annoying on the whole trip?
Character, you mean?
Yeah.
Jodie's my favorite because she has such patience. Devon can be the most annoying because he'll fucking get up and you'll be like, you need to be ready because he floats like a leaf through everything. If you blink, you'll miss him. He'll leave you behind. He will leave you behind.
Yeah.
Did you grip up with anyone on the table?
Yeah.
Well,
Levon, Devon, Matt, pretty much the whole fucking Georgian team apart from Irakli, and gripped up with Lasha and a bunch of the Lasha's tough. Oh, Lasha's a great character in it as well. I don't know Lasha's name off the top of my head, but he's great. The all high hookers, Matt Mask, Devon, and Levon learned a lot from all of them. And I probably, I'm sure people will be pissed at that because I'm a newcomer into this and I'm learning from having access to those guys.
Just take it all, man. Take it all.
That's why you put the camera down and just listen, because when else are you gonna get that, But Matt was a good teacher. Devon's not a great teacher, in my opinion. I think that if someone who's got ultra experience in this would be able to understand what he's talking about, but Levon was actually the best teacher because he can't speak English very well, but he can understand it very well, and he was able to explain everything through movements, and he was actually a great patient coach, even though my hand fucking disappeared as soon as he held it.
Well, yeah, it would have been swallowed to oblivion. A couple of more questions. When is the Aussie Arm Wrestler documentary coming out?
Mate, good question. Are you a good leading man? Are you a good character?
Well, you tell me. I've absolutely nailed this out of the park, mate. People say Denzel should take some lessons off me.
Yeah. I mean, you could, if we did it a bit like Crocodile Dundee, where you get lost in America and your misadventures along the way and you have to make it out through arm wrestling, or over the top where you have a son who you want to get out of military academy and his grandfather fucking hates you.
No, I have to get my pet crocodile out of military. That's the key.
That's
and
right.
I've got to bring my crocodile or kangaroo. Let's really Aussie it up. Let's
go for the stereotypes here and really embrace that and have every extra on cocaine to match the energy levels of Over the Top. I think that would be the way to go. And then, some Foster's beer being crushed. Oh, yeah, that's what we want.
I'll crush everyone. Last question. How would you rate yourself out of 6?
I'm probably a 4.5.
I've been told specifically to ask you that question.
In terms of what as a filmmaker?
Ask Rory what he is out of 6.
4.5.
I don't know why it's out of 6, but I got a winky face from it. That was from Devon.
Oh, is it? Oh, right. Oh, shit. I know what he's on about. Devon should come on screen right now. I'm sure if I egged him on, he'd come on.
I sent in the link. I think he might have been busy. He hasn't seen the link to jump on. Guys, we'll go for about 5 or 10 more minutes. Uncle Johnny, if you've got any questions, guys in the chat, if you have, because it's just gone past midnight over there for Rory, and I'm sure he is proper knackered, and we appreciate him having his time with us on the show. So get your questions in the chat. Uncle John and I will pick out some of the best ones, and hopefully, and even if they're funny, just chuck them all in there. Probably stop everyone from bloody arguing with each other. Uncle John, have you got anything?
Yeah, I do actually. So I'm always really big on maximizing these opportunities because I see this film as an opportunity. I'm very just opportunistic for arm wrestling, right? So when you think about how the arm wrestling community reacts to the film and how they utilize it and how we as content creators deal with it, like what are the types of things that really help a film like yours? Is there things that you're hoping happen within like the online community, or if that makes sense?
There's so much out of my control. This is why luck. It's like fishing. This is so like just patience and fishing. You can go out on some days and get 30 seconds of footage, and then other days you can have your film, and if you can cut that scene together in an interview, and it's purely just about fishing and timing, and the arm wrestling community have been there by being in the film and being so welcoming to it, and that's what I want to show out of it. I want to show the people in Georgia supporting Levon. I want to show the people on the oil rigs in Calgary and Red Deer supporting Devon, and the kind of blue collar community there. People who come from all different walks of life. Really, you've got laborers, bikers, just getting together to arm wrestle just for the pure love of the sport, and people find passion through that and purpose, including veterans. And there's a fuckload of military veterans in Canada who Devon's rallied around this too, and I think that's so important. That's something I'm hugely passionate about documenting, and that people find purpose through this, that it's not a stupid thing or from an outside perspective, or people think it's silly. You can do this anytime, anywhere. That's the beautiful part of the sport. I'm shocked that it's not more popular, but I think that this sport would just explode if only it would get beyond the niche that it's in right now. And I think it's actually surpassed that, as long as people like people in strongman or Juji Mufu or people from different worlds bring that into their channels, and then we're passing it along. And I'm new to this, so I don't want to act like I'm a huge spokesperson for it, or that I've been here long enough that I can talk about it like this. Like I'm lucky enough to just be here at this time, but I think that the community have helped everywhere we've gone. We do this one shot where we circle around Devon at the table, pulling every different club, and ideally, if it works in the edit, as it twists around each corner, we turn into another club. Devon is obviously there in the same position, but the people around him change. And at every club we went to, we always got a shot where we have the whole club at the end looking into camera and flexing, or doing a front double bicep, or just their individual poses. And it's perfect because it shows the different people involved in it, and there's something so beautiful about that. And I get a lot out of that on camera. I like seeing people's faces change throughout the world, and we have that. So it's the arm wrestling community who've given everything to it when they've seen me. So thank you.
Very cool.
When's your first super match?
Give me 2 years and lots of pancakes. I'll fucking take them on anyone.
All right, we'll get some questions. We'll get some, hopefully some questions have come in. Ryan Bowen says, I may have missed it, but Rory, where did you learn your craft?
So I started out doing drumming. Like I went to music school and played professionally in bands and whatnot, ska band actually for a few years. And then while I was doing my degree at the time, which was law, I fucking hated it. I'm not a lawyer. So I stopped after 2 years, and then decided to go into film, and I felt like I was more passionate about that, some storytelling. So I ended up doing an undergrad at Edinburgh College of Art, and then made my final project. It was about military veterans going to strongman, about a guy who lost his legs in Afghan.
Let me just, if you don't want to watch it, sorry to interrupt, Rory. Listen to this. Scottish soldier re-identifies himself after being injured in combat and becomes a strong man. If you don't want to watch that documentary, Improve Every Day, which the Royal Television Society nominated it for a couple of awards, correct me if I'm wrong, Rory. If you don't want to watch that documentary, mate, I don't know. Where's the best place to find it, Rory? Because I'm going to watch that today. I just came across it, doing a little bit of background checks, and I saw this and I was like, this looks good.
It's a good film. It's actually a very fun film, believe it or not. It's a buddy kind of movie. But my old coach in strongman called Kenny Sim. He's a former Royal Marine Commando. He took this young guy who unfortunately lost both of his legs and several fingers in Afghanistan from an IED, and took him under his wing and coached him into strongman in the adaptive category. And that's what the film was about them trying to get to the Arnold Classic to get Stevie, the main character, to compete there. And it's a hard film. It was definitely not easy to do. It took 3 years of work. But the best place to watch it is worldwide on Amazon Prime. It's IED, Improve Every Day, and Peacock, Vimeo, YouTube. You can watch it online on YouTube. But if anyone, I'll send you a fucking private link and what you think.
I'll
about
put it
it
in the description for sure, and I'm gonna check it out. I'm just writing it. I just got to write that down so we can all go and watch it. Whereabouts? Fox 8 Ball. He's a Scottish man. He detects a bit of Scottish. So
yeah.
Whereabouts are you from, my man?
So I'm from Cairngorm National Park, in northeast Scotland, and in the Highlands. But I've lived in California for a good few years now, and I have family in the Bay Area in San Francisco. So I've got a very mild accent, but I've been back and forth there all my life. But I've always kind of been based in Scotland. It's just now I'm permanently kind of setting up shop in California.
Yeah, when I found out you were from Scotland, I've got a few Scottish mates, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna have to work on this. Uncle John and I are gonna have to work on this podcast. But yeah, when you came on and you're like, oh, hey guys, I was like, oh. Matt wants to know, were you disappointed not getting the perfect ending for the documentary?
No, because sometimes the hero is, again, as cheesy as it sounds, I'm sorry if it sounds pretentious, but the hero doesn't always get what they want, but they have to get what they need. And I can't really talk too much about what Devon's character needs, but that's a big part of it, that he wants to be this, but maybe what he needs to do is not actually achieve that goal for the betterment of himself. I guess that's one way to put it. I can't go into much detail about that, but no, I'm not disappointed by that, because either way, Devon is a fantastic character, and the story isn't all about arm wrestling. That's the goal of the film, to win this match. But it's actually sometimes better that he doesn't, not all the time. I mean, Friday Night Lights, I'm pretty sure they don't win in the end in that film.
Friday Night Lights, I don't. Rocky?
Yeah. Rocky doesn't actually win the first film, does he? No.
Nope. Mm-hmm. And Rocky Balboa, he doesn't win that either in the comeback fight.
No.
Yeah. So it goes from there. Spoof, he doesn't want to. Rory doesn't want to put a time on it. We spoke about it earlier. It's next year sometime. He doesn't want to put a month on it.
Early next year is the goal, but I hope the edit will be finished. You'll start seeing trailers towards the end of this year, absolutely, if not sooner. But you will see stills. You'll see production stills, behind the scenes stills on our film page. Just at TurnerGang Productions, and you'll see updates about that there.
Yeah, please. Where else can we find you? Of course, there's TurnerGang Productions on Instagram. There's I'm not sure if you want everyone like your own personal Instagram or things like that. Where else can we find a lot of your stuff?
To be honest, Improve Every Day is probably the film I would want people to see, because that's the most important to me, and the themes about it are the most important to me. And I think the people involved in that film deserve to be seen and have their story heard. I'm not an influencer. I'm none of that. So if you do want to find me, I mean, TurnerGang is the best place. I'm sure you'll see my face tagged in a couple of photos. If you want to, go for it. But the film is the most important.
Yeah. Beautiful. And will there be any like social media, like when the film's being released, will you just start another Instagram page? And
I'll keep it there, but here's the big news. It's funny we talk about over the top, but Sylvester Stallone is involved in this film.
Oh,
what?
Yeah.
Nice. How is he involved? Like, what can you say? Like, what his deal is? Producer? Like,
Well, I mean, I can't. So basically, he saw the trailer, and he very much insisted. He said, "I'd like to be executive producer on it." So
nice.
that's to be discussed further once we finish the film. But he has verbally committed to that anyway. Whether he still wants that after he sees the rest of the footage, that's up to him, and we can talk about that. But no, he has stated that yes, I name me as your executive because that's what I want to be. But my producer on it as well. He's an industry professional. His name is Daniel Youngie. He's an Oscar winner and 7-time Emmy winner. So no, we're going in for the win. We're not fucking around. This is a high caliber project, and that's it.
That's glorious.
How does one get in touch with Sylvester Stallone? How did that happen? I'm not saying release his email, but how did that happen?
My producer on it, Daniel, he was a lecturer of mine at USC Cinematic Arts, and it's that school is very good for your connections. Basically, it's supposed to be the number one in it's supposed to be the number one in the world for film. So you apply, you do your best, and you get in. But that's where George Lucas went, Ron Howard, all these people pass through this specific course. So you're connected, and people know people, and if you can bring something up, there is a way. But this film became separate from that, and he said, "I'd like to externally come out of, cinematic arts and actually just produce this with you," because he believed in it so strongly. So he was doing a project with Balboa, which is Stallone's production company, and Braden Aftergood, who is Stallone's producer as well. So that's how the connection was made. But I mean, this is still an independent film. We do not receive, funding or anything from an external party. We did get an investment, though. I should thank Michael Hymas from Canada, who was the first to step up. Aside from family and friends, he was the first to step up for a significant investment, and he actually he did it. And we could not have done this last leg without him. So thank you, Michael.
Nice. That's great news. This all sounds awesome.
Bang! That is unbelievable. Uncle John, have you got any other tidbits or questions for our man Rory? Otherwise, we'll wrap up the show.
Yeah, I think we can wrap it up. I just want to say I'm really happy that this all came together and that this is going to be done, because I think it'll be great, for our sport. I think it'll be great for Devon. And most of us here are just so excited about, moving the sport forward that I'm very, very happy about that.
No, thank you for having me on here, and I really appreciate it. And I hope it does. Devon would succeed into the stratosphere without this anyway, but I'm so lucky to be there at this particular moment, and thank you to Devon and Jody, and to letting me into their home, and to let me in, emotionally, and actually, document this, because it's heavy subject matter. It's it's not easy to sit and do these interviews, which can be very draining. So no, thank you to them and all the arm wrestling clubs that got me there, and all the businesses along the way who've allowed me to film in their businesses, and the crew, my friends, Warren and Vicky, who helped me out, and Cecily, and even my family, my mom in particular, fucking great supporter of my work. And it's a solitary thing, documentary, so it's good to have friends and family at your back to keep you going, because it is not easy. So no, yeah.
Nice.
Beautiful. And finally, getting all the love that you deserve. And of course, Rory, thank you so much for your time, and initially not being a dick. And now we've just had a good, fun hour and a half together, and we'll definitely get you back on the show many times, because I'm sure the public, only if it's all right with you, Rory, I'm sure the public would love to know little bits of updates of production. Yeah. And things like that. Guys, just make sure we'll get the link to IED. I can't wait to watch that documentary, because the little 30-second preview has hooked me, and I can't believe I haven't found this one before. Everyone's up and about. We're really grateful, Rory, that you chose arm wrestling and the confidence that you have, that you think that it's going to be an absolute barn burner of a documentary. I can't wait. So hurry up and film. And I'm just going to message you every day. Have you finished yet? Have you finished yet? Have you finished? So I will be blocked in a week from Rory. No, I really appreciate your time. Guys, we'll wrap it up there. Please go subscribe to Uncle John. Make sure you support Rory. TurnerGang Productions. Instagram. I'll go chuck that link in the description because the man has just put everything on the line in order to make a documentary about our beautiful sport. Guys, we'll catch you all soon.
Thank you.